Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
Okay, hello. Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. You might see it's looking a little bit different around here for me. I'm actually dog sitting at the moment, but we are here nonetheless to talk about, well, what could be an incredible show, Rob. And that is, of course, Clash at the Castle, the first stadium show in the UK for 30 years. How are you feeling about it? Oh, you're muted.
There we go. Bloody hell, man. I'm so
mute.
excited. That's the second time I've done that within about a minute. Firstly, when you say dog sitting, it doesn't mean sitting on a dog. It's just looking
I'm not
after
sitting
them
on a dog. I'm looking after a dog. I'm looking after two dogs. One dog for my parents, one dog for my brother who's gone to a festival today, All Point Seats, which we actually covered on the Rebellious Noise YouTube channel, the main channel, a few years ago. So check that out if you get a bit of time, if you're interested in music and festivals. But yeah, enough about that and self-promotion. How are you feeling about the show, mate?
Yeah, man. As you were saying about the backdrop, just watching that intro video, I just missed your old backdrop with the Sting mask and the beard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
That for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the old days.
I'm the only one in a mask.
Yeah.
Have you noticed? I told you I'm matching.
I was gonna say, don't think I expect that, mate. It's nice, man. I like what you got going on there. Nice, you got a full little outfit going on there. It used to just be the mask, but
yeah. I'm trying to get I want to get more like the red into the blue and like kind of trying to. I messaged someone about getting a Rebellious Noise mask made, and because I don't own the logo, I was like, but I know the guy that made it.
I own the logo.
Yeah. So I was like, so I'm in the middle of trying to get the mask done, like with the red and blue and the.
Okay, nice. I
but
like it.
Yeah, for now we'll go with the. I feel like Rey Mysterio. I just need a bit more.
Okay, yeah.
I need
get those long shiny pants he used to wear. Pants as if.
Actually, I'm not wearing them now.
Yeah. I mean, shiny pants over here means a completely different thing, but exactly. Right. Anyway, speaking of over here, of course, like as I mentioned just now, it's the first stadium show in the UK in 30 years since, of course, SummerSlam '92. Quick time for a little bit of a plug there, of course, because we recently did a watch along for SummerSlam '92. So it's going to be really interesting seeing. Of course, this isn't a SummerSlam, but come on, we all know it. It kind of is going to be treated in a similar sense, in that it's a spectacle overseas. And of course, we also did a watch along for the 2002 SummerSlam as well. So if you get a bit of time this week and you want to hype yourself up, we've got two great anniversaries going on at the moment, with both of those being 20 and 30 years old now, respectively. Great kind of insight on that as far as seeing. Well, that sounds like I'm really bigging us up, but yeah, it was really fun basically to see the difference in the product over those 10 years, and of course now. Days as well, and soon we're going to be doing a recap and review and all that fun stuff as well for Clash at the Castle. Boy, not there just yet. Of course, it's time now to preview and predict each match on the card. Now, you would have seen in the thumbnail there, you would have seen the four of the gang there. As you can see, though, only two of us today, myself, Scott, and I'm joined by Rob. The other two, I guess, got the sword to them. They didn't make it today, but we've got that graphic back anyway. Up?
Yeah. Right, so hang on. Why do you look menacing? Dan looks menacing. Lucas looks menacing. Bearing in mind that is Lucas's wrestling promo picture, right?
Yeah.
Why do I look like I've just woken up?
I don't know, mate. I took it from a screen. Maybe you had just woken up.
You should have just said, Rob, send me a picture. I would have done. I would have smiled.
I'll quick. I didn't have time. All right, sorry. All right, next time. But as you can see, that's the from the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. And what we're going to be doing today is preview and predicting it. Like I said, we haven't got those boys with us either, sadly, today, but we do have their predictions. So we're going to go through those in a bit. Now, what match should we start with, Rob? Let's go. Let's start with a women's match. Let's go with Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler. And as we go through this, we'll talk a lot more about it, being in Cardiff, being in the UK, and we've got some interesting and exciting things to tell you about and announce later on in this podcast as well. But first of all, let's talk about that match for the SmackDown Women's title. Now, I'll do as usually we do, kind of roll dice and things like that and see who should go first and whatever to try and make it a bit fair. But what I'll do is this time we'll start out with Dan and Lucas's prediction here. They've both gone for Liv Morgan. I'm going to take the bullet, or I'll take the sword even, and I'll go first out of the two of us. Now, I do feel like they're building up Liv Morgan, Shayna Baszler again in this kind of, you used to be something. Liv's really pushed their buttons on that. And this is going to be a similar theme with another match we talk about later on, where they're definitely flirting very heavily with something. But does Shayna win it? And it seems like, I don't know, they didn't really give their explanation, Dan and Lucas, but seeing as they didn't, they must think this is fairly straightforward. And the Liv Morgan win, I'm not sure it is, because, you think about the Shayna, she's not who she was and could have and should have been on the main roster, but who she did have a really good run under, who was it in NXT? It was Uncle Trips. So does that bode well for her this time round? I think the Liv Morgan thing, we got the pop, she got the moment. It's okay if we move on from here, I think. So yeah, I mean, Ronda's not advertised, apparently not meant to be there, they say. Could that be a swerve? Could she be part of it? I don't know. You think coming over here to the UK, a lot of it is going to be like fan service in some ways, I think. So do you treat it like a house show where you do go, all the baby faces can kind of get nice moments, or do you go long term with it and actually build Shayna into this killer again? I know which one I want to happen, but with these predictions, it's not always what you want. It's about what you think will happen. And I do think it's hard to tell. It's a really hard one to predict because the last month has changed a lot in the company. And maybe I've got rose-tinted glasses on and kind of optimism for the future through the roof. So because of that, I'm actually going to go with a Shayna Baszler victory.
Well, do you know what, right? I do agree with what you're saying, as in, like, it's going to be different. I guess when you come over here, when we get like a pay-per-view or PLE as they now are, it's, I don't know how to put it. Like, they always do get treated like a house show, I guess. Even though Raw and SmackDowns get treated kind of more like a house show. Yeah. But I think because it's like, this is such a huge thing, it's like even Saudi gets that house show moment. Like, it has a weird treatment. Yeah. Because it's such a big thing, I don't think it's going to be treated like that. I think it'll be treated.
Well, it's changed even with that. The Saudi shows have become more like that. We talked about a lot in our predictions, preview, and build-ups and reviews of those shows most recently. They've definitely become more regular pay-per-views, PLEs, we should say now. But yeah,
and I reckon this one is going to be treated the same as a normal PLE. My thing is, look, I'm a big fan of Liv, and for ages I was like, they need to give her the championship. Since they've done that, they've done this weird thing when she kind of got a heel reaction and then got booed. And then obviously, I think the way they've tried to counter that is by putting Shayna back in the position that she was in with NXT, which I loved. We all love Shayna in NXT.
The thing is, though, like, Liv's poked the bear here. She hasn't like it's kind of heelish what she's done.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It really is.
You're not that good. You used to be something.
Yeah, exactly that. So a part of me is like, well, Shayna should demolish her, and it makes a point of Shayna's now the champ. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I feel like they could probably get away with a scrappy victory. Like, it's a long match, and then she wins with a roll up.
Like, I just feel that as well.
Yeah, I feel like that'll be the route, because then that way, the only way she got the victory was through a roll up or a schoolboy or something like that. Like, it's a cheap victory, so she got her win. And then if that was the case, I could see her losing at the next PLE. Yeah, that's what I think might happen. So because of that, I'll go anyway. I don't know. I'll have a quick look.
I know they've been promoting Survivor Series and announced all that, but that's obviously November. So October used to be Hell in a Cell, didn't it? So
yeah, that's right. Actually, do you reckon we'll go away from Hell in a Cell though? now, well,
but they've done it already, haven't they? They've done Hell in a Cell. They did it about a few months ago. This is how bad those gimmick pay-per-views are. PLEs.
Worlds Collide. That's
but that's not
performance at NXT. Extreme Rules is 8th of October.
I was gonna ask if Extreme Rules has been on. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, that's gonna change a lot of things as well because it all
2 in November.
2 in November.
Yeah, Crown Jewel on the 5th, and then Survivor Series on the 26th.
Okay, fair enough. Right. Well, who are you going with then? Liv Morgan or Shayna?
Oh man. I'm gonna go Liv Morgan, but if Shayna wins, I won't be irritated.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm the exact opposite to that. Like, I go Shayna, but if Liv wins, I understand. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, like,
you know what I mean?
I guess if wherever it works, it's going to be like a nice booking for the next PLE. That's what I can see. I think it'll have a good payoff. So, like,
yeah, and it's a story that could kind of be stretched out and go further, especially with the Ronda stuff as well. But because that kind of isn't really over either. What's gone on between her and Liv? You know, the kind of controversy on some of the things as well. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. It is. But I think a lot of this card, like, I really struggled over the past few weeks looking at going, is this like a main caliber card or is this a house show card? Like, if you told me it was either of those things, I think I'd believe you on nearly every single one. I think the build's been quite good lately for a lot of these matches, but it does feel like a very different card to usual.
Yeah, it does, but I don't know why, because it's a standard card, if you know what I mean. But I think it's the way it's been booked, as opposed to, like, normally we're just used to this person comes in or this person's there, and that's it. It's just thrown together because it's the way it's been built different. You kind of like, well, it feels more like an NXT build up, if you know what I mean, like old school NXT.
It's an interesting build, like but looking forward to the show. I mean, Jen will kind of talk about the show just quickly. Of course, we're going to have a presence there. We're going there to see the show. RN Pro Wrestling will be in attendance. We will have, like I say, a presence there. We're going to be doing some interviews on this channel as well. So subscribe if you're new, if you haven't already. Or if you keep coming back, but you never press that beautiful red button, definitely do so, because we've got a lot of content coming for Clash at the Castle. Of course, we'll aim to get as much content as possible. Not only do we have interviews with WWE superstars coming up, we will also have the recap and review. Hopefully we'll have a lovely build-up show for you as well. If you haven't seen our build-up shows before, basically they're the night of the PLE. Get yourselves and ourselves in the mood for the event. And again, with it being in the UK, it's got a bit of a special place in our hearts already, I think, here for us British fans. So we're definitely going to be kind of going all in on the kind of Clash at the Castle hype train.
You said that, I was like, that's the wrong brand, mate.
I know. As soon as I said it, I was like, wrestling terms just become like, you can't say that anymore because it sounds like you're talking about that. Right. Anyway, stay tuned because we've got a lot coming on this channel throughout the next week and a bit for Clash at the Castle. It's going to be really exciting. Being there in Cardiff and kind of bringing all this kind of news and entertainment to you, hopefully. Right, let's move on. Speaking of entertainment, we've got a match that we should have been entertained by last month, but it got cancelled. And even rumours back then was because it was going to be held off and delayed for Clash at the Castle between Riddle and Seth Rollins. Now, this is an interesting one because it was an interesting one in the first place when it's being built for SummerSlam. I think we were kind of all quite gutted, really, that we didn't get to see this match. They've continued the feud and the build. They've really added this element of kind of hate between the two characters. Obviously, recently having to be pulled apart, fighting backstage out of nowhere, which, by the way, and I think we'll go deeper on this at another point, but Raw and SmackDown, to be fair, has suddenly become, you don't know what's going to happen. They've broken the formula and so many things. It's so exciting, refreshing. But again, we'll be here all day if we're talking about that. So we're going to try not to. But generally speaking, it's been really exciting stuff. I'm still not watching the full shows, but I definitely tune in for the kind of first 20 minutes in case a surprise happens and then watch all the kind of exciting stuff in the morning as well. Because, hey, a 3-hour show, still not for me. But Riddle, Seth Rollins does look like it's going to be my goodness, an exciting match. And I mentioned the kind of scuffle and the backstage stuff because I do feel like, and we're recording this live. Thanks to everyone that watches live and on demand, by the way, on the Saturday before the event, so the week before. So Raw and SmackDown are still yet to happen as far as the go-home shows. I think there's a chance this is going to be turned into like a Falls Count Anywhere or something like that, right? It hasn't already, has it?
I'm just looking now.
I think it is just a straight singles match. And the reason why I say it is because of the way they've kind of built the match and the animosity between the characters. I feel like, and WWE is going to want to do this, I think surely, is get something out of that castle. I don't want to be a bold prediction here, Rob. I got a bit of a sneaky feeling that this might go outside the stadium and end up, because the castle was next door to the stadium. So even if it's pre-taped, they could, in theory, do the match and make the end be a pinfall at the castle. And I think they'd be silly not to do that. That feels like the kind of thing WWE would love to do. I don't know what the logistics are. There's going to be press and stuff like that, of course, around the castle anyway. And they've already used the imagery a lot in the, not just the name, but also in the promo videos and stuff like that. So I'm sure they've got a good relationship with those that are running the castle. But for me, this is the match that's got to do it. Whether it does, I don't know. But yeah, let's get into a bit of prediction for the match. No, first of all, what do you think about the idea of them using the castle anyway?
Yeah, like I'm all for it. I got a feeling that the castle look and design is also going to be around the arena.
Okay, yeah.
Like I think, do you know what I mean? Like how they've done WrestleMania,
I feel like the stage and stuff like that.
Yeah. My question to you originally. Do you think, because when you interviewed Riddle a couple of years ago, he spoke about like entrances were talking into Saudi instead of being on a camel and all that sort of stuff. Is there a chance that, obviously not that they exist, but do you think they'll try and do something that he can come out on a dragon?
I live in hope so, mate.
How cool would that be?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you kind of put that little note in there just before you said it. Not that they exist, just in case anyone thought you did think that. You're right, man.
Along with a unicorn over there.
It would be cool. Obviously, you're referring to the interview we did with him, like you say, a little while ago now. Dan actually conducted the interview, fantastic interview. It was so funny. And he was just going through his ideas of what he'd love to do in the future. He did say at that time that he wanted to use, and go back and watch the interview on this channel. I think he wanted to have like a black cat taxi, because we were talking about a possible UK PLA at the time, and that him and Randy would be outside each door doing the pose and stuff like that, out the window. But yeah, man, if anyone's gonna, and they've used a lot of dragon imagery and stuff like that, of course, it's, Wales got one of the coolest flags in the world, so why would you not kind of use things like that? But even some of the promo artwork uses the dragon as well. Let's have a quick bring that one up specifically for this match, of course. It shows it on all of them, so it's not just about this match. But yeah, that would be really cool, man. I hope so. I really hope so.
If he doesn't, I really do hope that they put like a dragon head on the front of his scooter and then like a tail.
Yeah. So the awkward thing is they've gone really personal with this feud. Like this kind of, he's become a bit more like the kind of the old school fighter Riddle as well, So. Yeah. But you can't take away that lovable side of his character, especially for the kids. Like I saw, he got announced as doing a signing, and my goodness, like the tickets went straight away. And I was on some of those like Facebook group chats about like the show and people talking about getting tickets and where they're staying and all that stuff. So much of it was parents saying, "My kid loves Riddle, couldn't get a ticket. Can anyone help us out?" and stuff like that. Like. Seriously, I mean, I know a lot of that is people using their kids to try and get stuff, but I don't deny. I don't see it being kind of not true that kids are just massively into Riddle at the moment.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, even we discussed it when he first come on the main roster. Even when we spoke a little bit about NXT, I wasn't a fan. And then he comes to the roster, and there was just something about it. He just wound me up. But it's only been like the last few months. So I'm like, do you know what? I kind of get it now. But it just, I don't know what it was. It was just something. It just took me ages to like him. And now you just can't help but love him. Like he's so good, But yeah.
It's been an incredible journey. I mean, for those that are new here, like go back and watch the previous episodes of Rob was not getting Riddle and then slowly coming around and the rest of us being so happy about it. But yeah.
it's like a monumental moment. When I was like, I want Riddle to win, the cheer was like he'd already won.
It was, yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think this really could be match of the night. Like I have a 100%. Feeling. I mean, you pair Seth with a broomstick, and it's going to be a good show. So like,
and Riddle's no slouch. Like he's so good. I'm really excited seeing this. Especially like, years ago there were rumors that Seth said he'd never work with Riddle and all this stuff as well. So like, I think that's added into their feud as well. People that kind of in the, a bit of a wink, nudge about it sort of thing. But yeah, either way, man, like I'm looking forward to it. But hey, let's not just about looking forward to it. It's about getting those points on the scoreboard here. Still ain't updated it, by the way. I've only got one T there, as if I'm Scottish rather than my name. But there we go. That is the leaderboard at the moment as far as our predictions table go. And now, will we have any kind of big sway on this show? So again, we'll go with Lucas and Dan's one first. They've actually gone different to each other. Ooh. Lucas has gone for Seth Rollins victory, and Dan has gone for a Riddle victory. This time, let's say you go before I do on this one. Rob, what are you thinking?
So, I think from a perspective of Seth's character at the moment can afford to take a win or a loss via any way, shape, or form. So
yeah, we say this quite a lot actually. So
so if he gets a win via DQ, so obviously that would be that Riddle got himself disqualified and Seth got the win. It's a cheap victory for Seth. And then if Seth lost because of a DQ, and he's the one that caused a DQ, it makes him look like he doesn't care. So now Seth is in this position, win, lose, or draw, he's in a good position, if you know what I mean. So like it won't affect him in kind of like booking wise, because he will just bounce back. And I love the fact that the way they've put him in that position with like this weird Joker Seth, and do you know what I mean? Like I like it so much. So because of that, I'm going Riddle to win, because I think if Riddle's coming back, he's going to come back with a vengeance. And I think if they stretched it out and they didn't do it at SummerSlam and they're doing it now at Clash, there's got to be a reason why. And I feel like this is that thing.
Yeah, it's interesting that they moved it. Yeah.
Is there an update on Randy? Like, is he?
Oh, what you think a possible return? Even if he's not okay to wrestle, maybe just to come back and make an appearance. Because you got to feel like that's another thing. Is like, who's going to be at this show? There's still like confusion on some of it, So yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see if there are any returns or anything like that. I think everybody, because he was on the original poster in the sword, he's since been replaced by us lot, of course, is Cody Rhodes. He was surely going to be part of it. So it's a real shame if he's not. But then if you bring him out just to be a part of the show, just to then go away again, that might be kind of giving the wrong kind of sign to fans. But then it reminds me of the time Austin returned and then he went away. Do you remember he come back and helped The Rock with a steel chair backlash against Triple H, and then he was gone again? That was such a strange thing when you look back on it. But hey, this ain't about podcast about nostalgia. We've done a few of those recently. This is about today and the future. But it could be something similar to that. But yeah, not too sure myself. With Randy Orton, it would be cool. But this at the same time could just be Riddle's time to shine on his own on the big stage, get that moment as well. And I think, I agree with you. Seth could lose and it'd be fine. At some stage, that's got to not be the case, though. At some stage, and it has happened with Seth before, where we said the same thing, and it's like it is kind of too much now. But I think, dragging it out, kind of Riddle getting his revenge, kind of for the attack and all that kind of stuff as well. Being in the UK with all the fans and the kids, I mean, that happens anywhere. Don't get me wrong. Not like he's got more of a fan base here, but I just mean, it's a special case because people are they're really excited to see Riddle because we don't see him as much, sort of thing, So I do think, I agree. I think Riddle's going to win this one, especially if they do the castle thing. Like I said, I think the image of Riddle winning at the castle, climbing on the top and flying a flag or something like that, would be hilarious. Or doing the pose at the top.
I was about to say Randy's pose on top of a castle.
So I think.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think Riddle is probably more likely to win. I was going to say something else about this match, but I think I've forgotten now. So oh well. But I think like you could be match of the night. Really looking forward to it. I think Riddle's probably the most likely to win out of the two. Oh, that's what I was going to say. A lot of times we do predictions. It's like, where do they go next? And that kind of sometimes sways your prediction. And I don't know where either one goes next, other than I think this feud probably continues and goes into some sort of thing at Extreme Rules. Now that you mentioned that's the next PLE. I can see this being a stipulation match at Extreme Rules as well. So, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, man, I'm glad you're as excited about this match as I am.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on to the next match. Not sure which one yet. Let's see if it's going to be one that's also going to get us a bit excited. You know what? Yeah, I think it will. Here we go. Talk about I mean, a match that's very different to the last one, but this is what I like about this card. That a lot of these matches feel like you get this type of match, and we'll get this type of match, and we'll get this type of match, this type of story. Of course, I'm talking about Gunther, the old formerly known as Volta, versus Sheamus O'Shaughnessy, if we're talking old names. Just Sheamus, of course, in the old Fed. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, man. This is a tough one to predict for me because it feels like, and I'm not going to look at the others. I'm just going to give my prediction first this time around. Let's change it up a bit. I feel like losing the IC title was going to be possibly damaging to Gunther unless he goes on to the main kind of stretch and runs towards the main event title picture. I don't know. That's kind of depends on what we see later on this night as well. But you could argue that it'd be wrong for him to lose it because of credibility of the title, and like it's really working well. He's working well. The title's working well for him. He's working well for the title. Giving it to Sheamus. Now I know they're playing on, and he's done it himself on Twitter as it's the only one he hasn't got basically. And I do think doing it. Of course, he's not from the UK. He's from Ireland, but you know he's did a lot. You know, growing up in the wrestling scene over here, he did a lot on this side of the water either way. You know, so. I do think this could potentially be a reward for him and a big moment for him. Because you know what it's like, especially when we talked about before, when we didn't have direct kind of like, when it was Regal, Paige, and Sheamus and Drew were the people that we kind of cheered for. Back in the day, obviously, Bulldog as well. But Sheamus has always been within that kind of thing as well. And then even like, other Europeans and stuff like that has been the case.
I believe you forgot Wade Barrett.
Wade Barrett, of course. He's just signed an extension. Congratulations to Wade Barrett as well to stay with WWE. So, yeah, good point. But Sheamus has always felt like one of those guys as well. So I do think that this could be an occasion to kind of do something with it. Now, they've done things like this before where you sacrifice the potential growth of one character and even kind of elevation of a title. And I'm not saying Sheamus would ruin it. I think it can. There's a way for it to add to the gravity of the IC title, but saying this is the one I've always wanted, you know, and the kind of match they're going to have is going to be unreal as well, as far as hard hitting and stuff like that. So there's potential for it. I think I'm also torn on what should happen. Like I say, should Gunther keep it to continue that, or would it benefit on going on Sheamus for a bit and then going back to him or something like that? So I'm going to go with a Sheamus victory here because I think I want to see it more than anything. So I think that's why I'm going to go with Sheamus on the prediction. To shake things up, I'm going to give you one of the other guys' predictions. I'm going to give you Dan's prediction. Dan is also going for Sheamus. I'll hold back on Lucas's. What are you going with, Rob?
So I'm kind of torn because, like, firstly, I'm so glad that we're getting to see the IC actually on a PLE. It's been far too long.
Yeah, and what a time to have it, is it? You know, 30 years after SummerSlam 92, arguably its biggest ever moment to shine.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I just don't know, because as great as Gunther's been with holding the title, we haven't seen enough of him holding the title because we've not seen it. For example,
it's only recently with this feud.
It's really been like a more of an importance.
Yeah,
and I just think if you drop it now, then all that importance was just because of Sheamus. So Sheamus,
and it was just about to get there as well. You know, like he was just about to, because he's only just come back and not come back, but being kind of shown in a prominent role.
Which is why I'm unsure. But I mean, I'm looking at Sheamus with, as they're known as, the Brawling Brutes, and I'm just looking. Ridge Holland, West Yorkshire, obviously Pete Dunne, or Butch, obviously from Birmingham. So there's a lot of English blood in this feud.
Yeah, it's not just about Sheamus being kind of from just over the river, just over the water, but also it is, and I guess what you're probably just going to say there, sorry for cutting you off, but also the other guys as well having European kind of
exactly. So I just think you know, like the amount of like different, I guess let's say, blood that's within the feud at the moment, it's really hard to like strip one guy from the title and give it to the other because how do you do it? You know, granted, yes, it does well for Sheamus, but then it's
you
weird.
could argue the same for
Gunther. Yeah, exactly that. So I think, I don't know. I think because I want to see more of his body of work, and I want to be able to be like, do you know what? This guy's really elevating a title, like Cena, or dare I say it, like The Miz has with the IC. I think I want Gunther to retain.
Okay, but do you predict it?
Yeah, because Triple H is now in charge, and I feel like he knows.
But what a missed opportunity, though. It's one of those things. It's always about timing, you know. What a missed opportunity to give Sheamus finally get that moment of.
But then he doesn't. Technically, he doesn't need that moment.
He doesn't need it, no. But and it is. That's what I mean. That's why it's tough because it's not always about the individual story. It's about the long-term thing. So maybe the long-term thing, the better thing to do is not have Sheamus win it, because we're building something else over here, you know.
I mean, if we're talking like that, let's say it was, for example, a match I wouldn't mind seeing, and it was for the IC, but they really elevated it. Cena versus Gunther. Cena's not even a Grand Slam champion. He hasn't won the IC yet. So just because of that, does that mean Cena?
Yeah, and it doesn't mean it can't happen another time either. Exactly. You know, so, but yeah, I just think, I don't know, it would be a good moment, and
it would be, regardless, it'll be a good moment. But
I mean, what you mentioned as well about Butch, Pete Dunne, obviously he started to wear, Peter's going around the last few days, he's been wearing his old Pete Dunne gear at house shows as well. Who knows, he might be getting his name and his theme back. That'd be incredible. But to be fair to him, like, they're still doing well with what they've been given. I think him and Ridge Holland, and that scene, man, they built it so well with Sheamus and Gunther not being able to take eyes off each other while their minions fought around them, like on SmackDown. Oh, so man, it was amazing. So yeah, they're building it well. Either way, I think we're going to get an exciting match and a fun outcome either way. Like an outcome that will feel deserving either way. No finish?
What if we get a no finish? Like, and it goes on to Extreme Rules, and in that way, there's another stipulation.
Yeah. But then you miss out on the opportunity, like, either way, you know?
I guess. But then if you're going to miss out on it, then you either miss out on it for one or you miss out on it for both, I guess.
Because I guess the thing with Sheamus is, like, it could go back to Gunther eventually. Then the argument would be, well, then you shouldn't have took it off him. But if you can get the best of both worlds, where you can give it to Sheamus to have his moment, make Gunther look good, and he doesn't lose his shine, and he comes back quite quickly, or gets put into something else even more meaningful, maybe the world titles, then yeah. But it's hard to argue for him to lose it if it means nothing's going to happen with him. You know, it's not worth it. But either way, like I say, going to be an interesting one. The other prediction we didn't mention is Lucas, and guess what? He's also gone for Sheamus. So it looks like you're the only one sticking with Gunther here for a retention. So, and I wonder if their kind of thinking is the same. Hopefully, we'll get a few more kind of insider points on their kind of predictions and why they're thinking that way by the time we do our build-up show. And again, loads of coverage on this channel throughout this week. We're going to be in Cardiff. We're going to be interviewing WWE superstars. We're going to be showing you behind the scenes stuff as well. And of course, we'll have all our regular coverage as far as build-up shows and recap and reviews, all things permitting as well. Right, let's move on. It is time to talk about another match here, and it's another women's match. Let's talk about this one right here, Rob. We've got the kind of mega team of Asuka, Alexa Bliss, and the Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair facing off against Dakota Kai, Io Sky, and Bayley. I kind of thought I was going to trip up on the names there, having similar names now that Io has changed her name, but I think I got there right. That's going to be cool. I mean, what they've done with those three, obviously the returning and debuting kind of stars there, has been fantastic. And building up this super kind of group on the opposite side has been quite fun as well. So looking forward to seeing this. They're all entertaining me at the moment, like I say. This is one of the matches that made me think, is this a mega card or is this a house show card? Because if I went to a house show and saw this in the main event, I'd believe it. And I think we say this a lot about multi kind of person matches as well. They either feel like Raw go home shows, or they feel like, you know, you don't often get this on a PLE. But hey, I'm all for it. I'm looking forward to it. It's nice to kind of not always have women's title matches. Maybe you could argue that therefore this should be a match without a champion in it. so that we do get the best of both worlds there. But either way, I'm looking forward to it. I think there's a lot of potential with one of them is a thrown together group, and one of them is a stable, basically. I don't think the thrown together group is going to stay together for much longer. And therefore, I think that's probably going to lead into my prediction here kind of early on. I think it makes a lot of sense, really, to let the team of Sky, I was going to say Sky Shirai. See, I'm mixing up already. Sky, Kai, and Bayley to win as well. So, yeah, I'm going to throw my prediction out there early, mate. I'm going to go with that. This time, I'm going to give you the prediction of Lucas, and he's gone also for the same team. What are you going to go with before I give you Dan's prediction?
So, two things. I'm slightly confused as to why they didn't put the women's tag team tournament final on this PLE card.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, of course, if you're watching this and Raw's already happened, you know who the winner is.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's a lot of rumors that eventually that Sasha and Naomi might come back anyway. Them coming out as the real champions feels like a nice little spot. To do that in Cardiff would be unreal. But because of if they do come back, they're going to be in a strong situation. I don't know if this is the show you'd want to. They might be thinking, nah, I ain't traveling all the way over there. So they might, but they might really want to do that as well. So who knows? But then they might not even be coming back. So I think personally, if they win the titles, and again, if you're watching this later in the week, you know what's happened. And I think they probably should win the titles, by the way. And they go into this. Then I guess you could argue that no, then you need to do the tag titles, and then Bayley wins, off of Bianca or something at a later date. Or maybe they even turn this into a match like that. I don't know. Having Sasha and Naomi kind of confusing it doesn't help because they go into something else. But that's an interesting dynamic as well. Bayley's relationship, of course, with Sasha Banks as well. So, but again, we don't even know if that's going to happen. But if it does, this is what they should do. They should have to, this crew win the tag titles, and then maybe a return at Clash. But hey, that is a lot of kind of forward booking. So what about you, mate?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm slightly confused because I thought my thought process was, well, if they're doing this thing, the big payout would be the final match at the PLE, because it's like you get your crown and glory moment at the PLE, the show at Clash. I was thinking, hang on, it's that sort of booking. So what if they do win it? Let's say, for example, the Bayley and Co's team win it. I don't think they've actually got a name yet, have they?
They need a name. I was going to say that earlier when I started messing it up.
So they don't have a name yet. So Bayley and Co. I've got a feeling they're going to win because it pushes them in a position of they're going to walk out to Clash as champions. Holding up the women's tag. And I would like to see Naomi and Sasha obviously come out, obviously because it will build something after that. So I have a feeling that Bayley and Co will win,
and a buzz for a feud like that in the women's division would be
huge
as well. So
my question though would be, if Bayley and Co do win it, are we going to get the first women's Freebird rule with the tag team championships?
I hope not, because I hate that rule.
Listen, I know you're not a fan, right? But I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. I think it'll be different as well, especially when you've got
Rob, the sun's shining, right? I'm in a garden. I'm
don't ruin your moment.
Right? Do not get me ranted, all right? This is not the podcast for it. Don't you dare.
But hey, listen, if it happens, it'll be an interesting dynamic because of what they could do.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're
saying. But I'm going Bayley and Co to win because I think something else is going to happen after.
Yeah, so I think that's where I'm going with it as well. Because even if it's not them, which it really should be, and I really hope
it wouldn't make sense.
It's going to be weird. Like, it's weird, like you say, not having the titles on there. Like, I know this match isn't that, and they were building this as a feud anyway. So maybe that's what you could say. Well, it's because it's not a tag match, 2-on-2. But at the same time, it's weird. So it feels like they know something we don't.
I mean, even if they done that and put the titles on the line.
Numbers? Sorry, what was that?
I said, what if they did win it on Raw and then on SmackDown they were like, well, we need to put the titles.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Something like, or it's announced at Clash that it's going to be a tag
like that. It's going to now be for the titles, and then losing them would suck though. Like it would be. it'd be a real waste. But it adds a bit of spice to the match. But I hope they don't lose him if that's the case. But they might not even win it. Let's see how it goes. Right. So from that, last time I gave you whose thing? I gave you Dan's thing, did I? Or was it? Either way, they both went for Team Bayley. So it doesn't really matter. So yeah, it looks like we're all going for the stable rather than the kind of superpower band that have been put together. Right now, that kind of moves us towards pretty much getting to the end of this. Now we've only got one more match to predict. Of course, it does involve this man right here, and this is going to be an interesting one, mate. Of course, it's not just that man wrestling himself or anything like that. He is facing the big dog himself, Roman Reigns. Now, well, okay, right. I don't know who should go first on this one, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tell you what the other two say. They both went for Roman Reigns. Now, without an explanation, I find this really, really confusing.
Saucy.
Yeah, because when you don't put an explanation, it feels clear cut and dry. I don't think it is. So, and they might not think that either, but they haven't explained it. So again, be interesting to hear what they think. But at a later date, hopefully. But yeah, sitting there just right now, mate, me and you. I don't think it's easy to predict. And okay, right. Let's get the obvious things out of the way. Right, It's in the UK. They're really, really hyping that up. We've said for ages, does Drew get his WrestleMania moment that he should have got in front of fans? Does that happen? When does it happen? I think, to some extent, even if he doesn't win it, this is that moment. Right now, I'm calling it now. And I've been wanting to say this for ages, but we haven't had a video say it on. And I think other people have kind of got this idea as well, because Drew has now kind of flirted with it on Twitter as well. But he's coming out to Broken Dreams, right? That's happening. Yeah.
Do you reckon?
So, yeah, 100%. It's happening.
I don't know, man.
I don't know how it's going to happen. I think this is the way I would do it, right? I think play the song. He comes out a little bit onto the ramp. And then you do what they did in NXT, where they had the band playing the kind of the Fort Boyard sound theme tune. He comes out to that because you get the best of both worlds, because that's quite a jam as well, and like it gets people up and the sword and stuff like that. I think he should come to the ramp with that, because the best part of that is the intro and when it drops. So I think that's what you should do. Best of both worlds. Plays almost like a video package, because they've done some great stuff on SmackDown that I saw. Comes out to that. People like that are in the know, will love it. Like for years he's talked about on Rebellious Noise interview. We interviewed him years ago. Check out the main Rebellious Noise channel as well before we split off and had a wrestling channel specifically. He spoke to us there, and he also mentioned it then and how he want it to be a big kind of event and a big moment. And I honestly think they were supposed to do it at WrestleMania when he won the title, and they've held off because it needs fans. So I really, really do think, big prediction there, not going to get me any points. No bold prediction, doesn't make any sense or anything like that for bonus points. But I do think he's coming out to Broken Dreams, and then it will go into his main theme song now. Thoughts on that, first of all?
I don't know about the Broken Dreams. Obviously, I love...
You're breaking my dreams now, mate.
Right? I would love to see it. However, I do feel like we're going to have like some proper Scottish bagpipes, drummers. Like it'll be like a
I
proper
think we're going to get,
but I just don't see the Broken Dreams.
We're getting both. I'm telling you, it's going to be a mixture of Broken Dreams and his NXT when he came out with a band.
What if we get something similar, right? So we get the build-up video package, which I really hope is they do like the Rock and Austin WrestleMania 17 kind of my way kind of thing, right? We get that. And then we get just a video package of Drew.
Yeah.
Starting from where he is. Broken
Dreams. That's what
Dreams.
showing on SmackDown though. So we've kind of already got that. And I think they've held back on the music. Yeah. I think they're going to do the music.
I reckon we'll get a video package of Drew doing with the Broken Dreams, building all the way up to winning and then taking his losses, being battered, and all the build-up that we've had up to this moment. And then he'll walk out at the end of it, maybe in black, and you'll just see him walk out. When he stabs the sword down, that's when we'll get it. So I think we'll only get Broken Dreams for the video package that we'll get for Drew.
Right.
And then he'll come out.
Not the same. Do you know what I mean? I know what you mean.
I don't know.
It needs to be like when Cena used Thugonomics, and he used the start of it. And like, it's got to be like exciting. It's got to be, I think you've got to do the intro is amazing, right? The drop's great. Even the chorus, like so much of the song is good. But then, that's what I would do. He comes out with a sword, and then that's when it hits the finger.
Yeah,
or like, you know, maybe it builds up with that. It kind of plays into it because it'll be live anyway. You know, if it were a ban, I say it will, as if we know exactly what's happening. There's definitely a ban booked and all this stuff. Yeah, we'll see, but it's going to be interesting. I wonder how many people are going to talk to him about this week when we do press and stuff like that as well. Hopefully we do get some words with Drew again. But yeah, if you haven't already, check out the interview we did a few years ago. It was about his kind of rise. At that time, he hadn't become WWE champion, and he was talking about that being a possibility as well. So yeah, because they're hyping it up like that. He tweeted the lyrics the other day for a start. They're hyping up his journey again. It's very reminiscent of that WrestleMania build, and without having to go, yeah, but he's already won the title once. You know, they're playing into the fact that, yeah, well, now it's for 2 titles. Now it's for Roman's kind of, you know, legacy and kind of stamping that out. You know, it's a lot going on with this one. So it'd be really interesting. But that moves us to our next point, mate. Is he actually winning it?
Well, do you want me to go with this?
I don't know.
All right. I'll go first because you went first last time.
Okay, all right then. Thank you.
So
I'm not 100% sure.
I have two kind of a few ideas. The one I really want to happen because, as we discussed, obviously we're big fans of Drew. We love Drew. You know, UK represent.
And he brought that shine back as well. He got boring for a bit.
Yeah.
They've built him in the right way. I'm not sure if everyone's ready for it, but it feels closer than it was a few months ago. Yeah. Go on. Sorry, I'm just excited.
It's all right. So let's say it gets to the moment, we get the Claymore kick. All right. We don't get the stupid countdown. We don't need that. Get rid of that. Right. I want it quick and fast. That's how I want it. It's a family show.
I know where you could say.
We want it quick and fast. And then we get the pinfall.
Yeah. As
he's celebrating, let's say he gets attacked by Roman and the Usos and Sami. Although, speaking of, Tom seems to think that I was the original honorary Us. When I spoke to him
Sami took your role there. Mate.
Yeah, unbelievable. So I'm gonna fight Sami for that.
He's been great lately, by the way. I wonder if that has.
Did you see the what he done on SmackDown and he got the guys laughing?
Oh, when they were laughing in the background. Yeah,
so good. I love Sami. Sami looks so great at the moment,
and they've worked so well into the feud as well. Mate, the way they worked around the Usos not being able to get into Canada and made that like TV gold. Do you know what I mean? And even their reaction to him since that, like, so good.
Yeah. So I reckon basically the Bloodline will attack Drew after the match.
I feel like that as well because of the way, you know, again, we haven't seen the go home from the week that's going to be just before it. The one before that has aired.
That's what I
it did make me feel like Drew needs someone. So I'm wondering where you're going with this.
So let's say Drew gets beaten again. He gets attacked. Okay. What if out comes Theory and just cashes in?
On Drew.
Because that way he didn't beat Roman.
I feel like it.
Roman finally gets defeated by someone that's worthy to defeat him.
Didn't I say this last month? I think I said something like this last month.
But then we get the moment of Drew gets his crowning moment of
you get both.
Roman.
Because Drew being a champ isn't what we need. It's the moment.
Yeah. So we get the moment. Drew gets his whole moment in front of a crowd, then gets beaten, they get attacked by the Bloodline, and then out comes Theory. Theory gets his moment.
So this is what I think should happen. Now the thing is, Triple H being in charge now maybe has changed things because he didn't book Theory to win the Money in the Bank, so we don't know. But then I think a lot of people have been, he's Vince's golden boy. So, but he was also booked very well in NXT, you know. So I don't think Triple H is, you know, it's a symbol for the old regime. I don't think that is the case. So yeah, I think that is what should happen. I think Drew should get the moment. And we said before, you know, the whole thing about Money in the Bank kind of muddied the waters and made it a bit awkward because Roman's reign ending like that isn't great. But is it? Because it's a great heel thing to do. But this way, you kind of get both. You know, Drew gets his moment, and it then that kind of it doesn't pass on with you know how people try to argue Brock beating the streak and then people beating Brock kind of feels like you beat Taker. In some sense, I don't think it passes on in that sense fully. in that like, oh, Drew did it and now that's, but it does in the heat sense, you know. So
yeah,
I do think that is probably the way to go. But then you could argue that you do that big moment. How could you not close with Drew in the fireworks? But for the UK fans, if it's about the UK and in person, I think you've got to go with Drew winning it, and that's it. That's the end of the story. If you're going with the future and like beyond this show, I think the thing to do is have Drew do it and then Theory get the heat by cashing in.
He would be so hated.
We've completely got away from Reigns doing it. This is what we think should happen, you know, but what do we think will happen?
It's weird because I think, you know, when you kind of have a line of what do I think will happen and what should happen, but I just feel like they're so close, in the way it should / will happen that I don't know. Like, I mean, I just think if Drew wins it, yes, we get that moment of, oh, he won it, like it UK based, and we got to see it, and it's a big moment. He gets his WrestleMania moment, but is it too late now? Like, because it's kind of weird of, if that's going to happen, then that needs to set up for Theory to come out, because you need to take that moment straight away from him. So the fans, they get their moment. And do you know what I mean? Because if Roman wins, then it's a big thing for him. If Drew wins, it's a big thing for him. But you don't want to showcase too much that he's just beat Roman, because Roman's been undefeated. He's been champion for 2 years.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're pushing.
Like, what happens with the title? If Theory wins, you know, is he ready to carry the company on his shoulders, even if it's for 4 weeks? You know what I mean? For a month, is he? Are they ready to position him like that?
If they do it, then it's the safest thing for them to do is have him hold it for as long as the Miz held his second WWE title.
I think it's a good story that Drew going after him and getting it back. I don't think Roman should go after him to get it back. I think Roman would have to go away for a bit and then come back, maybe for Drew again or something. But yeah, I think if they do it, then Roman should leave for a bit so that he's not kind of in the picture, and then Drew gets it back off of Theory, and then Roman, if they want, can get it back off of Drew. Yeah.
How long has Roman held? I'm just checking now. How long he's held?
Well, it's about to be his 2-year celebration, isn't it? So for the first title.
Yeah.
And the other one, of course, he won at WrestleMania. So they're playing off of the first one now, aren't they? You know, it's 2 years and all that.
So again, it kind of, not that I want to moan, because they've kind of done well to like rebuild the booking for it. Yeah. But as we all said, like in regularly, either in a group chat or on the podcast, giving Roman both titles, but they put themselves in a situation where
giving themselves an effort.
They really have. So,
but like you said, they've clawed it back, especially these past few weeks. I think and going into a natural feud like the Drew one makes sense. I think they would definitely wanted to do Tyson Fury as well at this show. So you could argue,
I'm glad they didn't.
There's never going to be the plan for Drew to win the title, so he's not going to win the title. But I don't know. And the Broken Dreams, all that story wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have made sense with Tyson Fury. I don't think. He could have tried to kind of wrangle that part of the story, but I don't think so. Because it could be, I'm facing an icon and, you know, I've made it. But yeah, I think it's more, it suits the storyline with Roman more. But then as well, we haven't really talked about Cross. You know, carrying Cross is a big part of this feud in the background as well. So is that where it goes after this? Because like maybe carrying Cross costs
try saying that 5 times.
You know, and and Theory wins it, but that doesn't seem like the right goal for Carrion. Like, surely he wants the title, not to beat up Drew. It's not all about beating up Drew; it's about winning the title. So that kind of confuses it as well. So maybe, but then it's kind of similar to Miz and Lashley. So maybe Theory does it, Cross beats Theory, but then like, can you even that? You've gone from 2 years of Roman Reigns having a title to possibly within a month to kind of fix things. Hot potato it, you know, between Karrion Kross, Theory, and Drew McIntyre. So maybe not. That doesn't feel like the kind of thing Triple H would want to do.
All right. How about? So obviously we're still kind of speculating what we'd do. So let's say, for argument's sake, win or lose, Sheamus, obviously he's there, right? Now he's had his feud and he's had his time with Drew. Now we know they go way back. So what if there was a moment?
He makes a save and it's a nice moment to close. IC title and WWE titles, that would be nice.
So this is my thing. Let's say Sheamus wins, right? He wins the title.
Yeah.
He gets his moment. Drew is there. Maybe they do a backstage moment, and he's like, "Look, we've had our thing in the past. Well done, well done."
It's very similar to another great moment at WrestleMania 20, but you know, people know what we're speaking about.
We have the moment of, let's just say like that. Well done for you. You know, achieving a Grand Slam. Like it's a big thing, right? And then maybe that happens, and they have a handshake. That's it.
Yeah.
Now, bearing in mind, there is 3 members of Bloodline. Right, they got Roman, Jimmy J, and then you've got Sami. Right, so that's 3 additional guys. So let's say Drew is on his own, the Bloodline are there. What if Sheamus comes out along with Dunn and Holland
to make the save
to even it? So that's 4 on 4. We get
the good if it's done into Survivor Series, but yeah.
What happens if we get that brawl, and then let's say if Drew does win, then we get the IC and WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship, whatever it's called now. And they have that moment in the ring. All 4 UK guys.
Yeah. Well, obviously Sheamus isn't from the UK.
But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I like that as well. See, this is the thing with this match. It's very exciting. I'm going to be very disappointed if it is just a straight up Roman win. Not that I think Roman winning is a bad idea. Like, he still does, like, but then it's like, who does beat him then? And when? Like, the argument is always like, oh, it should be someone up and coming, you know, kind of wrestler. You know, could it be Theory? Should it be someone who was knocking on the door for ages, like Big E, you know, and he ended up just winning the title separate to this feud anyway. But, like, even, like, I mean, years ago when they faced each other at Clash of Champions, the 2 of these, you know, it was like, this is the match that people want to see for the title. And I think he's lost a bit of that, Drew, but I think a lot of it's come back recently. So, and then the UK is going to be favourable for that as well. Like, it kind of paints a different kind of picture. So, man, either way, I mean, every scenario we've said so far, I would love to see. I think it would be great. The only one that kind of is a bit of a concern is Roman, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing for Roman to keep it. It's just, they are getting stale. You know? It is a risk. I think the Sami stuff has kind of given people a bit more thing with them again.
It's given...
a bit of a new lease of life, you know?
Yeah, it's given them like an extra additional bit of what's going on with the Bloodline. But you're right, something needs to go, and I think them going away for a bit and then coming back. The thing is, if Roman loses, he can disappear. Jimmy and Jay are still tag champions, so like they're still going to be there.
Still keeps it, And also, where does the Sami stuff go? It seemed like an afterthought at first. Now it seems very prevalent in the storyline. And then where does it go after this? Does he turn on them? Is he the one to end the reign? You know what I mean? Like someone who's been such a hard worker, but like, and sometimes felt very underutilized. And then other times just fitting into great roles and being the kind of goofy guy. And, you know, is he the guy to somehow be the one to finish Roman Reigns'
So I had a theory on this. So
go on.
So my thing was, as I said, there was a few outcomes that I like the idea of. What if the one that I really want to happen is Roman to win, right? Now, Kevin Owens steps up to the plate.
You're saying it is the one you really want to happen? Or you're saying what?
So this is the one I want to happen. Right?
You do want Roman Reigns to... Okay.
So I want Roman Reigns to win for this reason, though. So let's say it's Roman
against your brick card here. Can you give me your passport, mate?
So let's say you're not allowed it. So let's say Roman wins, right? Now, we need a build-up for Extreme Rules. So let's say Kevin Owens is the next guy to go forwards, right? He's been pushed in a good position. Yeah. He goes against Roman. Mm-hmm. Now, imagine if Sami was the reason that Roman lost and Owens wins. Reunite Sami and Kevin Owens together.
Yeah.
It builds up a feud. And then we've got something next to go on for what's next for Sami, Roman, and the Usos and whatnot.
Yeah,
I just think like that. It just, I don't know, because I would like to see, because Owens didn't really, last time he was a champion, he was with Chris Jericho.
Yeah, and he nearly beat Roman. Of course, he should have actually in that last man standing.
The last man standing. Yeah.
With not counting the
bad
definite time he was on the floor, but yeah.
I mean, look, anything that we've said, I'm all for. I really don't know, but if we're going to have the moment of the UK standing strong at the end of the show, then obviously as a Brit, that's what you want to see. So I guess wildly, I'm going to say Drew's winning, but I just don't know if they're going to do it. But
yeah,
visually, I want to see it.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm falling for kind of my head rather than my heart rather than my head. But I think I'm going Drew McIntyre as well. These are always the tough ones to do because you go, when do you bet against Roman? But I think now might be the time. I think if it's not going to be a superstar that you make, which it always has to be the right time, and I don't think it is going to be that with Theory, even if he does end up leaving with a title. I don't think it's about passing it over through a defeat from Roman necessarily with Theory. So a defeat in Roman, sorry. So I think, the only way you make it mean something other than a brand new person you've just made is to cement the legacy of Drew McIntyre instead.
Yeah.
So I think if it's not Drew, if it's not now, then I really don't know what they're going to do. So because of that, and it feels weird, man. It feels very strange to go against Roman Reigns winning. But
it does.
And especially because the other two have. You know what I mean? The other two have gone for Roman Reigns. Me and you have gone for Drew McIntyre. So, it's going to be an interesting one.
It is.
All right. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of the stream. Thank you to everyone that's watched live, everyone that's been watching on demand as well. Really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Check out more of our content here at the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. If you want to really get yourself in the mood for the UK PLE, how about checking out our watch along of the most famous one to happen on these shores, of course, SummerSlam 92. And if you're really then in the mood to think about maybe Roman Reigns' cousin, we've got The Rock versus Brock Lesnar that we did the watch along for. Not just that match, but the entire 2002 SummerSlam as well. Of course, we did a lot of recent SummerSlam coverage. So if that's in your kind of, what you want to watch, then feel free to do that. We mentioned earlier on a lot of interviews on this channel and on the main Rebellious Noise channel as well. But stick right here, particularly if you do fancy checking out more of our wrestling content, because this is the home for it. As I mentioned, throughout this week, we're going to be doing so much because we will have a presence in Cardiff, so we will be doing of course interviews with WWE superstars. We're going to be doing the build-up show. We're going to have a recap and review and maybe some extra cheeky little videos here and there as well. So subscribe because this is a good time for it. Hope you come along with us on this incredible journey. It's a fun time to be a wrestling fan again, Rob, and ultimately that's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is indeed. Especially not even just this company, but others, should we say. It's interesting.
Yeah. It is. It's a really interesting time to be a wrestling fan again. Right. On that note, Rob, I want to say thank you very much for joining me. Always good to get your thoughts and opinions on the show as well. And we'll see you later on in the week for more Clash at the Castle coverage. See you later, guys.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.